everybody, Kara here, otherwise known as Boho Berry, and I'm coming to you today with one of my very first videos. You all have been asking me a ton about my bullet journal, wanting to see a flip through. I did a huge blog post last month about, it was basically a 1-month update post, and I showed page by page within my bullet journal. But now I have so much more in here just after 1 more month, and I really wanted to do a flip through for you all. It's been requested over and over again, and I can't wait to show you. So we will head down to this downward view over here and take a look through my journal. All right, so here we go. This is my bullet journal. It's in my Leuchtturm 1917 notebook. I absolutely adore this color. It's the emerald color, which to me is more of like a turquoise or teal, which happens to be my favorite color on the planet. Everyone always asks about the pens that I use. This is the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen in fine. It's a 0.5 millimeter tip. It's archival quality, it's India ink, it's waterproof, it's light fast, and it puts down a really nice bold line, which I really like, and I think that kind of contributes to the style of my bullet journal. So that's that for those of you curious. All right, so let's dive into the journal itself. Here is my first page, and in this first page I actually have my phone number and email address, so if it ever gets lost, hopefully someone will be kind enough to contact me and return it to me. And then we flip to my index, pretty standard index. The nice thing about the Leuchtturm notebooks is that it has this index built in, and it takes up 3 pages. I am almost to the end of this bullet journal, and I'm almost to the end of the index, so I think it's going to work out perfectly fine. My key, I use the updated key from the bulletjournal.com website. This is writer Carol's new key. It's a dot for a task. You put next through it if it's completed. Migrated forward is a front-facing arrow. A backwards arrow is forwarded, as in put in my future log. And then cross through is irrelevant or deleted. Circle is an event. A dash is a note. The star is priority or urgent, and an exclamation point means I need to do my research. So this is the very beginning of my bullet journal. You can see that I pretty much went by the book in the beginning. I did the monthly spread just as Writer has it on his website. I did, instead of monthly tasks, I did monthly goals, which are kind of tasks as well. And then I just kind of dove in. I wrote down some of my favorite positive affirmations. I was tracking my Miracle Morning routine. This is when I first started the Miracle Morning back in August. You can see I got lazy and stopped filling the squares in, but I can promise you that I kept up with my Miracle Morning. I have not missed a day in the, 90 plus days since I've been doing the Miracle Morning. This is the beginning of my daily pages. My daily pages have evolved a ton since I first started. You can see how awful my cursive was in the beginning. I hadn't written in cursive since I was in grade school, and I knew that was something I really wanted to practice and bring back. So I decided that writing in cursive for my headers every day was going to be how I practiced that. Also in the beginning, I did these little squares for my hydration, 8 glasses of water every day. I also logged the same things over and over again. So you'll notice it says Miracle Morning, blog, social media, and water intake over and over and over again every day. And I got really tired of writing those down every day. So you'll see how I fixed that here in a few minutes. One of my first collections, books to read. And then another 100 goals in 10 years. I divided these up into a few different categories for family, personal, business, financial, physical, paying it forward or charity, and travel. These pages are taped together because that's financial stuff. Then I have this I am grateful. I actually have this available as a free printable on my blog if this is something you're interested in filling out on your own. I'll put the link down in the show notes for you to get to that. This is some notes I took on a podcast I was listening to, 4 Keys to Goal Setting. I do a lot of doodles throughout my journal. I'm not really much of a decorator per se. Like, I don't use a lot of washi tape. I don't use a lot of stickers, but I do like to doodle and kind of express myself that way in my journals. Another one here, I love adding in little quotes wherever I can. This was from another podcast, some notes that I took that day. You see my cursive starting to look a tiny bit better. This is a spread I get questions on a lot. It's my Level 10 Life spread, and I'm actually going to do a whole separate video of this spread, how I do it, what it means to me, and how you can participate and do one of your own. But it's basically just a metric for me to see how I'm doing in 10 different areas of my life. And about once a month or so, or every couple of months, I come back and I kind of assess how I feel about each area of my life, and I start filling in this circle. And the goal is to get to level 10 in each area of my life. More dailies, more quotes, etc. Blog post ideas. This is one of my first wish list pages. This is my personal wish list. And then it's my wish list for business things. Some ideas for blogging and my business, more dailies. This is one of my favorite little doodles. Follow your arrow wherever it may point. That's been something that I've always lived by, and I love it. More dailies. Then we get to September. Again, in September, I did the regular spread, although it really wasn't entirely working for me, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet. So I've got more dailies, a little quote in here that I really liked, more blog post ideas, and then these are my goals for Boho Berry for my blog. You'll see on here actually to start a podcast or YouTube channel. So look at me go. This is my September habit tracker. This was my first habit tracker that I did. And I did it so that I did not have to repeatedly write down all those things on my daily tasks every single day. So you'll see I have my miracle morning routine. I have my 64 ounces of water, which is my hydrate. And then different things that I wanted to track. And then every day, these colors don't really mean anything. I just like it to be colorful and repetitive. So that's why I did that. But that was the first iteration of my habit tracker. This is my future log, and in my future log, I don't really write future appointments. I don't really do any future planning within my bullet journal. All of my future planning, like appointments and schedules and things like that, go into a shared iCal calendar between me and my husband. So we can always stay on top of what each other's schedule is, what we're doing. I do write our schedule down into the monthly calendar when it comes around, but I don't do any future planning in my bullet journal. So this future log is actually just birthdays, holidays, times when there's no school, things along those lines. It's one of my favorite threads or spreads, sorry, things that I love. I had a lot of fun doing this one. These are all the places that I have shipped my jewelry to, which is kind of cool. More dailies, and you'll see now I don't have that water intake on there. It's all just tasks that need to get done that day besides what's already on my habit tracker. This page, it was meant to be something different. It was meant to be this Plan With Me challenge, and I was going to write down all the prompts for the Plan With Me challenge on this page. Then I realized they weren't going to fit. So instead I wrote out this little quote and I doodled a little bit and I just let it be. Again, more financial pages. A couple more dailies. This one I left, even though it's financial technically, I wanted to show it to you anyway. This is our savings goals. And I just broke down a few of our major savings goals, and every time that I put money into our savings account, I will mark on here what it's going towards. So you'll see these little numbers in the bottom. Those are the increments in which I deposit money into the account. So say I was putting $250 into our savings account. I would put that towards our adventure fund, and I would fill in one more little square there. So that's just how I use that. One of my meal plans, I wrote down the recipes that I was going to make that week, and then I wrote down a little grocery list of what I needed to buy. Plan with Me challenge prompts. This is a spread that I'm kind of ashamed of because although it's beautiful, I didn't keep up with it. It was a cleaning checklist, which I wanted to not necessarily get all of these items done every day, but I wanted to check it off every time I did something on this list. That way I could look back and see, oh, how long has it been since I cleaned out the inside of my car? Or how long has it been since I went through my junk drawers? And then I would be able to look back there and be like, oh my gosh, it's been 2 weeks. I really need to do that soon. That being said, didn't really keep up with that. And surprisingly, my house is still clean, so I'm gonna assume that I don't really need it. These are some of my go-to recipes, some quotes that are fun, ideas. I've been really trying to practice my hand lettering really pretty quotes, so that's what those ideas are for. There's one of them that I did, and you'll see the progression of my dailies. My weather symbols started to change a little bit, get a little bit neater. I started writing the temperature. That's the high temperature of the day. This spread was super popular on Instagram. It's my Whole30 action plan. For those of you that don't know, I did a Whole30 back in September. Yes, September. I lost a whole 10 pounds, which was awesome. So some of my favorite planner inspirations, planner Instagram accounts, Whole30 shopping list. This was my food log for the Whole30. So I logged each one of my meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then if I had a snack, and I wrote all that down in there. More dailies. This was my final measurements, or my before and after measurements when I did the Whole30. So I wrote that down, and then at the very end I weighed myself and took all my measurements again. This is one of my doodle pages that I really love. And just some little quotes and stuff here and there. And we've got my, this is one of my book note pages. This is when I was reading The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. And I was just making notes as I read through the book. And then I did a little checklist for when I got into clothing. You'll see here I started to change up my font for my dailies, and I started adding also the low temperature of the day. And that was my first owl. Isn't it cute? Yes, adorable. Here's my KonMari checklist. And yep, just some more dailies. This was one big hand-lettered thing that I did that I absolutely love. This is me practicing my cursive. This is another book notes page. I was reading The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Awesome book if you haven't read it. Really, really hit home with me on a lot of things. So that's great. You can see here, I accidentally wrote Tuesday instead of Thursday. Mistakes happen, you guys. They're gonna happen all the time. They happen to me all the time. Honestly, you just have to learn to roll with it. Instead of scratching it out, instead of whiting it out, covering it up, I just said, you know what? I'm gonna leave it. And I wrote, oops, it's Thursday. Okay, this is my Couch to 5K log, which I kind of flopped on. The weather turned kind of gross there for a while and I fell out of my running habit, so I really need to get back on that. I'm gonna start from scratch on that. This was a failed lettering attempt. Another KonMari checklist. More dailies, more dailies, more dailies. And then here is where I changed up my monthly layout. I was tired of, I liked the idea of listing the days down the side and then writing out what was going on, but I didn't have enough space to really write in everything that I wanted to. So I changed it up, I changed it to this, and I started using a little bit of color. I separated my days into morning, afternoon, and evening. I made my goal section a little bit skinnier because I knew I could fit things a little bit skinnier there. And then really I just started filling in everything, and I did a little color code. Pink is for my daughter, light blue is for holidays, red is for Distrito, which is where I work, green is for birthdays, $sign is for paydays, orange is for boho berry stuff, and the dark blue is for my own personal things. All right, the October Plan With Me Challenge prompts, and then this is the second iteration of my tracker. I stopped calling it a habit tracker because there's a lot more on here than just habits. For example, I was tracking Etsy sales whenever I got an Etsy sale, tracking when I went to work. That's not really a habit, but I like to see that at a glance. Another mistake, I thought there were only 30 days in October for some reason. Yeah, so I had to add in another line at the end there, which is kind of funny. On this one, I was tired of drawing lines for each and every thing, so I decided to just go in and draw dots instead. I actually really like the way this looks when you shade it in like that, so that was kind of cool. More daily pages. This is where my daily pages really kind of came into their own, and I really developed my own style, let's say it that way. My cursive started getting better, my doodles started getting better. I just really liked it. I started playing around with my numbers. And this, around the beginning of October, is when I hit 3,000 followers on Instagram, and I was so excited that I decided to do a cute little hand-lettered quote for everybody. I love you guys. My September stats for my blog, that's something I started logging in my October. We've got a couple of different projects. My Color Lovers weekly calendar, I had some tasks there. My bulletjournal.com guest post. More daily pages. This is a cool little spread. This is my ideas for when I go to Europe. Next summer, I'm going in May and June. Yeah, I'm gonna go for 2 months. I still haven't really settled on my places or my orders, so just kind of ignore that. But I was just kind of writing out ideas, deciding, like, kind of planning what I want to do. A before I go kind of thing, and then a packing checklist. I'm going to be taking just a backpack with me when I go to Europe, so I've got a really minimal packing list here that I'm going to try to cram into a backpack. These are more of my dailies. I have this card here because I have some of our flight information for holiday travel this year, so I wanted to hide that. Take that off. And here you'll notice it jumps from Saturday the 17th to Saturday the 24th. I don't remember exactly what was going on with me that week. All I know is that I was in a rut. I was in a funk. I didn't feel like planning. I didn't feel like blogging. I didn't feel like being online. Honestly, I probably just needed a break. So instead of fretting about having a blank space, or I wanted to kind of mark it. So I wrote this quote here: sometimes a break from your routine is the very thing you need. And once I wrote that out and I colored it in, and it looked so pretty, it actually made me so happy. And I was able to just continue on, pick up where I left off and not worry about that time that I missed. This was a little checklist for my bulletjournal.com checklist, or guest post, sorry. More of my dailies. This is a hand-lettered quote that I copied from a pin that I saw on Pinterest. I was pretty proud of myself for being able to draw that one. This is another one that's really pretty. If you are your authentic self, you have no competition. And I think that is so, so true. All right, so now we move on to November. It's not quite as pretty as my October spread. Honestly, I keep meaning to come back and do
like some sort of banner or something up top for November, and I keep forgetting to. So I'm really not too worried about it. It's pretty just the way it is, right? Right. This is the November Plan With Me challenge. You'll notice that I keep one of my bookmarks here on this page. That's actually for my tracker, because it's one of the pages that I flip to in my journal most often. So I always have this bookmark on this page so that I can access it easily. You can also see that I got even lazier this month and didn't want to draw lines at all. So all I did was these little dots. There's no lines surrounding it, nothing, which actually worked out great because I was able to I started practicing my handwriting every day and wanting to make sure that I practiced my handwriting every day. So I added that, and if I had had lines around the whole thing, it would have looked a little weird being added after the fact. So it's kind of nice I was able to slip it in there without anyone being the wiser. These are more of our dailies. This is all the beginning of November. I have this 30-day affirmation challenge that I copied down. I found it online, something by Brian Tracy. And it's just a bunch of different affirmations, and the idea is to, whatever the date is, you pick that corresponding affirmation and you repeat that to yourself as often as possible that day. So today being the 21st, for me it's the universe provides my every want and need. And I've been trying to repeat that to myself throughout the day. Some of the longer ones are harder to remember sometimes. So anyway, I thought that was kind of cute. This is a page, an idea that I got from Passion Themed Life on Instagram. If you do not follow her, definitely check her out. She is awesome. But it's a memories page. So every month I'm going to have a memories page. This is my November memories. I spent the weekend in Philly at an Airbnb with Mark. Obviously, the tragic events on the 13th that happened in Paris. I got my first fountain pen this month, and we went to New Orleans last weekend, so I've got some cool little stuff about that, and then I'm hoping to fill out the rest of this before the end of the month. Here's my 16 before 2016 list. These are 16 tasks that I want to finish before 2016 starts in order to finish out the year strong. These are my October stats. I just wrote November because I was thinking about it being November already. But those are my October stats for the blog. This is just a little journaling that I did. Some more quotes, some more dailies. This was me writing with my first fountain pen. Obviously my cursive was not very pretty with it at first. This is one of my favorite new spreads, you guys. This is my gratitude log, and it's something I got from Tiny Ray of Sunshine. That's Kim. She is absolutely an amazing inspiration in the bullet journal community. If you're not following her, definitely do that. But yeah, so this is my gratitude log. I try to write down 3 items every day that I'm grateful for, and it's really kind of given me a cool perspective on life, like just being able to look back and look at, wow, like it's only the 21st of the month and look at all of these things I have to be grateful for already. It's pretty great. I have some quotes about gratitude here. My waiting on, this is basically just a shipment tracker for me. Anything that I order online or that is being sent to me for any reason, I write it here and I check it off once I receive it. 10 things about me. That was a fun little thing I did on Instagram. This is another fun little Instagram thing. It's a doodle a day, and it's a little challenge run by Inside My Planner. You can see I'm a little bit behind. I still need to do the 20th and 21st, and I definitely need to color everything in. That's why I haven't posted an update on Instagram lately. More dailies. And then this is just me practicing with my fountain pen. This is my Thanksgiving planning spread, just my menu and what I need to pick up at the store. More dailies, also more handwriting practice. You see I'm doing a lot of handwriting practice lately. bullet journal, hacks and inspiration, more handwriting practice. This is a new spread that I tried doing, a weekly spread for just my business related stuff. While I love it, I have trouble keeping up with it. Like, I don't think to go in and update it. So I might have to think of something different along those lines. Here I had my packing list for New Orleans. And this is the whole time I was in New Orleans, so I really didn't have a lot on my to-do lists every day. I just kind of had fun. I didn't worry about it too much. This was a really fun spread for me to work on. It was my planning for 2016 spread. And this is basically just me brainstorming and trying to figure out what works for me, what doesn't, what I want to include, and yeah, what ideas I want to try, how I want to lay things out. And this is all for when I start my brand new planner, my Lemon Leuchtturm. All right, this is the second weekly spread I did for Boho Berry, and honestly, I haven't even looked at it since I laid it out. So I don't know if I'm gonna continue doing this, or if I don't know. I'm gonna try to find a different way to track everything I want to track for my blog. And then these are just a few spreads that I did to kind of break down those big goals that I had in my 16 before 2016. So this is just a few breakdowns of a few of my different goals. Some planner questions that I have, functions. This is a list of where I went in New Orleans, and then I was just practicing a little pattern there. YouTube channel ideas, wink wink. This is a script for my YouTube intro or trailer, and then more dailies. This one was super popular. I think I posted it yesterday actually. It's my year-end review in a sketch note. I got the idea to do a year-end review from one of my favorite creative business coaches, Lisa Jacobs. And if you have not heard of her, she is absolutely amazing. She's so motivating. Her prompts are super insightful. Her teaching style just really vibes well with me. So I love her. I love her books. I love her information. I love her blog. I got these ideas out of her Your Best Year 2016 workbook. It's a workbook, it's a planner, it's a guide for your creative business for 2016. And I got this idea out of there, and I decided to turn it into a little mini sketch note. I pulled out the bullet points, the important stuff to me, just so that I could see it all on one page in my bullet journal. And I love it, love it, love it. I'll put a link to her workbook down below if you want to check it out. She's absolutely amazing. And then this is my fountain pen wish list. I have become obsessed with fountain pens over the last couple of weeks. Ever since I got my first one, gosh, I guess it was only a couple of weeks ago. I have really been obsessed with them. I love writing with it. It makes me want to practice my handwriting every second of every day. So yeah, so this is the last of my journal. I have a few more pages to go. I'd say I have about 60 pages left. I do a pen test in the back of my journals when I get them, just to see how everything writes. This is all the main pens and markers that I use every day. You can see there's really no bleed through with any of them. There is quite a bit of ghosting, especially on these thicker brush markers. I don't know if that's the sort of thing that bothers you all, but it does not bother me in the least. Once I write on the other side of a page, then you can't even tell. It doesn't bother me. And then this is my color index. So if you notice throughout the journal, I have all these little colorful marks all up and down. And those colorful marks correspond to these colors. So it's something that's easy for me if I don't want to flip to my index and find whatever that travel page was. I can look here and find the blue to match travel, and I automatically know that it's right around in that area. So that makes it nice and easy. So that is my bullet journal.
All right, so that was it. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you found some things that you can use in your own bullet journal, and I will see you next time. If you loved this video, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Until next time, all the love and positive vibes. Bye.